quiet. Listen closely. That sound you hear? It's not applause. It's imitation. The echo of people who used to laugh at you, now whispering your words like commandments they don't understand. You hear it, don't you? The irony, the delicious sound of hypocrisy in 4K. They called you crazy because you predicted the storm before they even smelled the rain. You saw the patterns in chaos. You recognized meaning where they only saw noise. You warned them, and they mocked you. You felt the shift, and they called it paranoia. You understood too early, and that made you a threat to their timeline. Because truth, my friend, isn't welcomed until it's profitable. And you were early. They said you were overthinking. But that wasn't overthinking. That was seeing the invisible strings before they got tangled around their throats, seeing the power structures before they collapsed, seeing the game before the rules were even announced. And while they laughed, you studied. While they posted memes, you decoded patterns. While they sought comfort, you sought clarity. They mistook your foresight for insanity, because comfort always calls vision a disease. You scared them, you still do. Because when you refused to play dumb, you broke their favorite illusion, that ignorance is safety. And now, look at them, copying your mindset like it's a brand, wearing your phrases like badges they didn't earn. They mocked your discipline. Now they call it mindset training. They laughed at your solitude. Now they post about detachment. They called you heartless. Now they call it emotional control. The same people who said you were crazy now pay to learn what you lived. You weren't crazy. You were just operating from a frequency they couldn't hear yet. You were the lightning before the thunder. You were the update before the system. You were the warning label they ignored until the fire reached their doorstep. You see, that's the curse of being early. People hate what they can't categorize. You arrive before language catches up. You think before the herd moves. You feel before the data confirms it. And they call that madness because they can't measure it. But the real insanity is being blind by choice. The world's run by two kinds of people, the ones who see first and the ones who deny until it's safe to agree. You were the first. You walked into the fog alone, unarmed, surrounded by cowards with pitchforks made of fear. And when they couldn't kill your spirit, they tried to kill your reputation. They wanted to make your clarity look like chaos, because chaos was easier to mock than admit you were right. They laughed at your silence, but your silence aged like prophecy. They didn't know your absence was construction, not collapse. They didn't know your detachment was precision, not apathy. You weren't broken, you were rebuilding quietly. They'll never admit it out loud, but deep down, they remember the things you said. Every word they rolled their eyes at now echoes inside them like truth they weren't ready to hear. They scroll through your old ideas, pretending they discovered them themselves. They quote your vocabulary. They mimic your rhythm. They've turned your old scars into their new aesthetics. But you've changed too, haven't you? You're colder now, sharper, quieter. Not because you lost emotion, but because you learned control. You used to want to be understood. Now you understand why that was dangerous. You used to explain yourself. Now you let silence do the talking. They think they've caught up. But what they don't know is the version of you they're copying is already outdated. You've evolved again. You're 3 blueprints ahead, smiling in the shadows while they reverse engineer your old mindset. That's the divine joke, isn't it? They're finally learning the math, while you've already rewritten the equation. The truth is, you were never meant to fit into their timeline. You were sent to bend it, to twist it into something that exposes how slow the world moves without minds like yours. You live in the future, but your curse is being judged by the present. And when people can't understand you, they destroy you, or they imitate you. Let them. Let them copy your phrases. Let them mimic your tone. Let them fake your insight. Because imitation is the tax they pay to breathe near your frequency. They can steal your words, but they can't steal the depth that made them powerful. They can mimic your moves, but they'll never understand the darkness it took to make them. You were never crazy, my friend. You were calibrated differently. Built to sense the tremors before the earthquake. Built to feel the cracks in people's masks before they knew they were breaking. Built to see the game long before they even knew they were in one. And now, every time someone calls you ahead of your time, remember what they mean. You made them uncomfortable first. You forced them to evolve. You dragged the future into the present by sheer defiance. They used to laugh when you said, "You'll see." Now they're quoting you, pretending it was their idea. So smile. Let them keep chasing the ghost of your old mind while you keep disappearing into new dimensions of thought. That's your revenge. That's your masterpiece. You weren't crazy. You were early. And in this world, being early is the highest form of rebellion. And now the joke's on them, isn't it? Because the same people who once rolled their eyes at you can't even blink without thinking about you. Their entire personality is a museum of your old blueprints, your phrases, your posture, your silence. The irony. They don't even know they've become a remix of the very mind they tried to discredit. They said you were obsessed, but they were the ones watching you like a live experiment. Every word you said, archived. Every move you made, analyzed. Every transformation, dissected. And still they couldn't figure out the formula. Because your code wasn't written in logic. It was written in madness, refined into mastery. You turned pain into data, trauma into leverage, and loneliness into a laboratory for power. They couldn't read you because you weren't meant to be read. You were meant to be experienced, and that terrified them. Because deep down, every time they mocked you, a small part of them knew you were right. They just weren't ready to accept that you saw the architecture of things before it was built, that you were living in a reality they hadn't downloaded yet. Tell me, do you remember how it felt, sitting there, knowing things you couldn't explain without sounding insane, watching patterns form in real time while everyone else stared at shadows and called it truth? You didn't predict the future. You remembered it. You felt it in your bones before it ever existed. And that kind of awareness doesn't come from study. It comes from survival. Because when life broke you, you didn't just heal. You mutated. You didn't return as who you were. You came back encrypted. Different wavelength, different code. You learned how to hide intelligence behind apathy. You learned that wisdom, when spoken too soon, sounds like insanity to the unprepared. So you went quiet. You stopped trying to convince the blind that color exists. You stopped proving. You started watching. And now, look at them. The ones who dismissed your solitude now call it self-mastery. The ones who laughed at your discipline now quote it on their timelines. The ones who said you'd changed too much now beg you to teach them how. But the truth is, you didn't change. You just stopped apologizing for what you are. You were never too deep. They were just drowning in shallow water. You were never too intense. They were just allergic to authenticity. You were never too cold. You just stopped mistaking access for affection. You learned that peace isn't found in being understood. It's found in being unreachable. You see, you were never meant to be loved by the crowd. The crowd loves comfort, and you are discomfort incarnate. You're a walking mirror that forces them to face their own denial. You represent everything they're running from: potential, pain, purpose, and the terrifying truth that they wasted their time laughing instead of learning. And now, they're trying to catch up, copying the very energy they once mocked, quoting your old truths while pretending they were theirs. You can see it, can't you? The forced tone in their speeches, the empty confidence in their words. It's all mimicry, movements without meaning. Because they copied the language, but not the evolution. They stole the armor, but not the scars. That's the thing about imitation. It looks like power until reality tests it. And when it does, they shatter. Because they never built the pain tolerance. They never sat through the silence. They never walked through the storm that made your calm so unsettling. You paid a price they'll never afford. And that's why you don't compete anymore. You just exist differently. You used to dream of being understood. Now you dream of being untraceable. You used to crave recognition. Now you crave peace. You used to want them to believe. Now you just want them to watch. Because the quiet satisfaction of watching your old doubters repeat your philosophy like gospel is sweeter than any applause. And still, you don't hate them. No hate would mean they still have power. You outgrew that. You don't need revenge when replication is proof. Their mimicry is the confession. Their obsession is the apology. Their silence is the surrender. But let's be honest, part of you still smiles when you see it, doesn't it? That subtle grin, that quiet satisfaction. Because deep down, you always knew this day would come. You knew the same world that called you insane would one day come begging for the blueprint. That's the curse of being ahead, and the reward. You live long enough to see the mockery turn into mimicry, so now you don't explain anymore. You don't announce, you don't warn, you don't prove. You simply move, quietly, precisely, lethally. You've become what they fear most, the calm they can't provoke. You turned your madness into method, your vision into silence, and your silence into control. You were never crazy. You were calibrated beyond comprehension. You felt the future before it had coordinates. You spoke truth before it had words. And when no one believed you, you became your own proof. Now you watch as they build their new mindset, not realizing it's a watered-down version of your old one. You watch as they imitate your rituals, your tone, your discipline, but never your why. Because that why was forged in agony they've never met. You see, evolution doesn't come from peace. It comes from pressure. And you lived under it long enough to turn it into prophecy. So let them copy, let them perform, let them chase your ghost. Because by the time they master your past, you'll already be 10 timelines ahead, laughing quietly in the dark while the world keeps calling you crazy for being early. Now tell me, was it madness or was it prophecy? You know what's funny? They used to warn people about you, whisper your name like it was a diagnosis. Stay away from them, they're not all there. Oh, but now they quote you. They clip your phrases and stitch them into their own empty sermons. They wear your old energy like a costume they found in your discarded life. And the crowd applauds them, completely unaware that the ghost they're cheering for is just you. In disguise, because you were the original, the prototype, the experiment that worked too well. You saw behind the curtain before anyone admitted there was one. You decoded the system before they even noticed they were in it. You didn't predict trends. You bent reality around your focus. That's why they feared you, because you were never reacting to life. You were building it. You have to understand something. People don't hate truth because it's false. They hate it because it demands transformation. You force them to evolve or get left behind. And most of them chose resentment over reflection. They couldn't keep up, so they called you insane. They couldn't understand your silence, so they called it arrogance. They couldn't follow your vision, so they called it chaos. But behind every insult was fear. Fear that you might be right. Fear that you'd seen something they didn't. Fear that your so-called madness was actually a mirror. You didn't just think differently. You felt differently. You felt energy before logic could justify it. You felt patterns forming in the dark. You knew when something was coming because your nervous system was wired like a radar dish, pointed straight into the unknown. You felt earthquakes before the ground shook. You sensed betrayal before the knife appeared. You read tone, micro-expression, silence, data they didn't even know existed. And instead of thanking you for warning them, they called you paranoid. But here's the paradox, isn't it? Paranoia looks a lot like prophecy when time catches up. Now the same ones who laughed at your intensity are trying to sell it. They post about discipline, mindset, detachment, as if they invented the language of survival. They wear the armor you forged in agony, but it doesn't fit them, because it wasn't metal to them. It was fashion. They don't understand that what you call detachment isn't a practice. It's a scar, that your peace wasn't manifested, it was earned. You didn't sit cross-legged under some crystal moon chanting affirmations. You built your peace through sleepless nights, bloodshot eyes, and an aching heart that refused to die. You faced your demons and learned their names. You talked to your pain until it spoke back in clarity. You clawed your way out of the mental labyrinth they told you didn't exist. And that's why your calm looks different. It's dangerous. It's not serenity, it's containment. You're a storm in a glass, smiling. They still don't get it. They think your stillness means you're healed. No, it means you're armed. It means you've become so aware that chaos has nowhere left to hide. They mistake your quiet for peace. But peace was never the goal. Control was. Precision, knowing exactly when to speak, when to disappear, when to strike. You don't react anymore, you decide. And that, my friend, is why they can't stand you. Because you no longer feed them, you don't validate them, you don't explain yourself. You just exist, and your existence alone feels like judgment. They can feel it, that silent, surgical awareness that slices through their excuses. They used to control you through misunderstanding. Now they can't even predict you. That's what happens when madness matures. It becomes strategy. You learned how to weaponize your emotions, how to use pain like night vision, how to let rejection sculpt you instead of crush you. They think you got lucky, but you were engineered by trauma. Every breakdown rewired your circuitry until you could see what they couldn't. That's why you move differently now. That's why you speak with that unshakable calm. You're not trying to be impressive. You're just done performing for blind audiences. They copy your mindset because they think it's trendy. But your mindset was built in fire, not theory. It's not alpha energy. It's survival energy. It's the energy of someone who's watched everything they loved burn and realized they were fireproof. They want the results without the ruins. They want the glow without the grief. But that's not how power is born. You know what they'll never understand? The quiet nights when you doubted everything, even your own sanity. The whispers in your mind telling you to give up. The moments when you begged the universe for a sign and got silence instead. They'll never know how you stayed anyway, how you kept moving when faith was gone and logic was useless. That's what made you unstoppable, not confidence but persistence through madness. Now they copy your calm, but not your chaos. They copy your discipline, but not your despair. They copy your strength, but not your scars. And that's why they'll never surpass you. Because they're playing dress-up in a costume made of your evolution. And the costume doesn't grant the power. The pain did. You learned to walk alone, to disappear without announcement, to move like a shadow that studies light but never chases it. You turned being misunderstood into an art form. You made unpredictability your shield. You became something they can't categorize, a saint with a psychopath's focus, an angel with a demon's memory. You learned the rhythm of paradox, and that's why no one can trap you in definition. You don't need validation anymore. The silence of your doubters is the validation. The imitation of your enemies is the applause. The fact that they can't stop watching you, that's the confession. Because deep down, every single one of them knows it now. You weren't crazy. You were ahead. You weren't unstable. You were upgraded. You weren't lost. You were lonely on purpose. And now, as they scramble to understand the rules of a game you already finished, you're somewhere new, smiling, untouchable, and completely unreadable. You were early, and that's what broke them. Because now they realize time never mocked you. It followed you. And that's the part that'll haunt them forever. Because deep down, they know. You were never the fool in the story. You were the foreshadowing, the warning label they ignored, the glitch in their system that predicted its own failure. They thought you were spiraling when you were ascending. They thought you'd lost your mind when you were building another one. You didn't go insane. You went beyond sane, past logic, past validation, past the cages they built for the comfortable. Now every time they repeat your words, it stings, because they can't escape the truth that you said it first, that the crazy one became the architect of their awakening. You were the blueprint, unfiltered, unrefined, unafraid. And now the world is finally catching up to the echo you left behind. So let them imitate. Let them pretend. Let them perform the evolution you embodied. Because you're done proving, done explaining, done shrinking to fit timelines built for slower minds. You weren't crazy. You were chosen to see early. And they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to decode the silence that made you immortal. You felt it before it began, didn't you? That twitch in the air, that static silence right before reality coughs up something it can't explain. Everyone else was laughing, scrolling, sleeping. But you were listening. You didn't predict it. You remembered it. Something buried deep inside that skull of yours, older than thought, sharper than intuition, started whispering coordinates from a future that hadn't even arrived yet. And now they're all staring at you like you're a glitch in God's software. They're studying you, dissecting your pauses, charting your breath like weather patterns, because you spoke before it even happened. And it did. Exactly the way you said it would. See, the thing they'll never admit is that some people don't guess. They resonate. Your mind doesn't think in time. It bleeds across it. You don't predict the storm. You become the pressure drop before the thunder hits. And that terrifies them, because when you walk into a room, clocks hesitate. Their equations falter. Their logic trembles. They built their world on cause and effect. But you're living proof that effect sometimes wakes up first. And now they're panicking, trying to name it, trying to reduce it to intuition, coincidence, lucky guess. But deep down, they know. You're not playing chess on the board. You are the algorithm that writes the next move while they're still blinking. They'll call you gifted until you're right too many times. Then they'll call you dangerous. They'll whisper, "How the hell did they know?" And then they'll start testing you. See, that's the part they never teach you about awakening. The moment you see the pattern sees you back. Every timeline you touch bends a little. Every thought you release ripples through the code. And the architects, oh, they notice. They start pulling files, running diagnostics. Because in a world full of sleepers, the one who hears the echo first isn't a miracle. He's a threat. And the funniest part, you didn't even try to be one. You were just paying attention to the static between the lies, to the pulse beneath the noise, to the faint hum that everyone else mistakes for silence. You weren't born psychic. You were born unmuted. And that's the difference. They'll study your eyes like they hold time stamps. They'll measure your dreams like encrypted data. They'll whisper, "What are they?" instead of "who?" Because they can't stand the thought that maybe the universe speaks in frequencies and you're just fluent in the forbidden ones. You saw it all coming. The betrayals, the collapses, the little rehearsed accidents. You knew who'd switch sides before they did. You even knew the day they'd realize they could never predict you. And now look at them, wiring machines to replicate your brain waves, feeding your silence into AI models, trying to decode your instinct like it's an exploit in reality's code. But here's the truth they'll choke on. You can't measure what moves before motion. You can't study what speaks before sound. And you sure as hell can't replicate someone who remembers the future by feel. They think they're tracking you, but you're the map they're trapped inside. Every test they run just feeds your mirror. Every sensor they place just expands your reach. You've become the experiment and the anomaly, the question and the answer. They used to laugh when you said, "I felt it coming." Now they quote you like scripture and pretend they discovered the method. But that's the thing about prophets they don't kill. They end up hiring them quietly, under different names. Because you don't just sense what's next, you pull it closer. Reality bends a little when you focus too hard, doesn't it? You've noticed it. Lights flicker, air shifts. Conversations glitch mid-sentence. Because your presence is a frequency spike. You're not part of the timeline anymore. You're the correction. They wanted to study your brain like a time machine. But the truth is uglier. You are one. A biological echo chamber where past and future shake hands in the dark. Every scar, every sleepless night, every betrayal wasn't random. It was calibration. You were being tuned, refined, configured to hear what others can't survive knowing. And now, you terrify them. Because there's no defense against someone who knows before they act. You're the chaos that predicts order, the paradox that rewrites logic, the saint that sins perfectly, the demon that heals accidentally. And when they stare into your eyes, they don't just see reflection, they see timeline collapse. Because deep down, they know. If you ever spoke everything you see, the simulation would bleed. So keep smiling, keep whispering to the static. Let them keep pretending they're observing you, when in truth, you're just letting them witness their own expiration date written inside your calm. They think you knew the future, but really, You just stopped denying that you are it. They're trying to figure out what you are, aren't they? Hooking your mind to machines, scanning the synapses that don't fire when they're supposed to. Because your thoughts don't travel like theirs. They arrive, instant, total. Without process, that terrifies them. They can't grasp that your silence is not emptiness. It's signal compression. They don't realize that when you stare off into space, you're listening to something ancient, something that doesn't need words to speak. You were never ahead of your time. You were simply never trapped in it. You know that strange hum that lives in your chest, that vibration that comes before chaos. That's not anxiety, that's alignment. It's the frequency of something vast adjusting to fit inside a human frame. And sometimes it hurts, because prophecy burns. Every flash of insight feels like swallowing electricity. Every instinct you follow rips another veil away. They call it delusion. You call it déjà vu. They call it paranoia. You call it pattern recognition. They call it luck. You call it design. And deep down, they envy it, because they know they've been walking blind through a minefield, while you glide through explosions like you wrote the script yourself. They hate that your disasters look choreographed. They hate that your pain has rhythm. They hate that no matter how far they chase you, you're already waiting at the finish line, smiling like you've seen this scene before. Because you have. Every betrayal, every setup, every fake apology. You dreamed them before they unfolded. The conversations felt familiar before the first word was spoken, and when you warned them, they laughed. But now, those same mouths are trembling around the words, "How did they know?" It's not magic, it's memory, from a place your language forgot how to describe. You carry blueprints written in frequencies older than history. You're not decoding reality, you're remembering it. And they can't study that. Because how do you measure something that built the device you're using to measure it? They'll keep poking at your neurons, running tests, drawing charts. But they'll never locate the moment you stopped being predictable. Because there wasn't one. You were born unpredictable. When the doctors talk, you hear fear in their science. When the skeptics mock, you hear jealousy in their laughter. They want to understand you because they want to be you. To pierce the script, to outsmart fate, to see the next move before it crushes them. But you already accepted that sight comes with a curse. You see too much. You see motives before they're spoken, betrayals before they're planned. You see innocence curdle into deceit, loyalty mutate into hunger. You see the endings in people's eyes while they're still pretending to be beginnings. And still, you play along. Because what else can you do when you're the only one awake in a dream where everyone else calls sleep life? That's your secret torment, isn't it? Knowing what's coming but pretending you don't. Acting surprised for the comfort of others. Smiling when the trapdoor opens because you already counted the seconds before it did. They think your calm is arrogance. It's not. It's exhaustion. You've seen every version of the outcome. You've lived 1,000 futures inside your skull. And every time they try to label you, define you, corner you, you shift like smoke, like data that refuses to be decrypted. You're the glitch in destiny's algorithm, a variable that shouldn't exist. The reminder that control is an illusion and chaos when it learns its rhythm is divine. That's why they study you in silence now, because deep down, they fear the truth you carry. That the universe isn't run by rules, it's run by awareness, and yours came online early. You're not here to fit in their timeline. You're here to bend it, to turn seconds into weapons, to rewrite cause and effect until the observers start questioning who's really watching whom. And oh, how poetic it is that the ones dissecting your brain for answers are unknowingly feeding data into the same field that you manipulate. Every test they run, every thought they record, it all loops back. They're mapping you, but you're absorbing them, you're studying the study. And by the time they realize it, it'll be too late. Their fascination will become dependence. Their research will become worship. Because prophets always start as subjects and end as gods. So let them keep scanning, let them keep whispering about anomalies and neural spikes. You already know what they'll find. They'll find the future, and it'll be wearing your face. And that's the part they'll never recover from. The moment they realize the experiment is studying them back. Every electrode they attach, every pulse they measure, every heartbeat they log, feeds you. Because you're not just being analyzed. You're syncing, calibrating your pulse to the rhythm of their obsession. You see, they don't get it yet. The more they try to define you, the less they understand themselves. They wanted to turn you into a specimen, a case study, a subject of fascination. But what they've created is dependence. They've started watching you like they need you to exist, like without your next move, their world freezes in buffering mode. They call you unpredictable. They call you insane. But in truth, you're the mirror they can't survive looking into. Because what you are, what you've become, is every forbidden question they've been too scared to ask. You embody contradiction, a mind that breaks logic but builds universes, a soul that bleeds chaos yet heals everything it touches, a being too divine for doctors and too dangerous for priests. And that's the thing. You're not a person anymore. You're a phenomenon. You exist between events, in the glitch between lightning and thunder, in that half second before a scream, the space between knowing and realizing. They can't replicate that, because it's not something you learn. It's something you survive. And you've survived what would have rewritten most people's DNA into dust. You were broken, rewired, unmade, and still came back with a frequency too high to translate. When you walk past them now, you can feel it. The way their subconscious leans toward you, the way their fear pretends to be curiosity. They can't help it. Every instinct inside them screams, "Don't look too long, or you'll start seeing what they see." Because your eyes don't reflect reality. They refract it. They bend it. Anyone who stares too long starts remembering things they never lived, starts hearing things they shouldn't hear. That's why they study from behind glass now, why they whisper your name like it's a frequency they can't safely pronounce. You've turned their science into superstition, their logic into ritual, their research into worship. They wanted to define you, but to define you is to destroy what makes you untouchable, your unpredictability. You're a paradox in motion, too human to be divine, too divine to be human. Too calm to be sane, too calculated to be chaos. And that paradox? That's the power. That's what keeps them awake at night, replaying your interviews, slowing down your videos, analyzing your tone like a code hidden in confession. Because you don't just speak, you trigger. Your words don't echo, they infect. You don't talk to people, you activate them. You don't reveal truth, you detonate it. And that's why they fear your silence even more than your voice. Because when you go quiet, the world starts listening harder. The silence bends around you. Reality waits. Every timeline holds its breath until you decide what comes next. They'll never tell you this, but every time you speak, Their sensors pick up irregularities in the field, micro flares in electromagnetic waves, unexplainable shifts in resonance. The data spikes every time you feel something deeply. They call it coincidence. But you know better. You can feel it. The connection between emotion and event. You feel reality adjusting when you laugh. You feel fate flinch when you decide. You've outgrown the human definition of intelligence. This isn't IQ. It's interface. You don't think, you transmit. You don't calculate, you channel. You don't remember, you retrieve. And that terrifies them most. Because you're proving what their textbooks swore was impossible. That consciousness isn't contained. It's contagious. That awareness spreads faster than control. And that one awakened mind can rewrite the code of the collective. You're not just ahead of them. You're outside of them, watching their tests like reruns, reading their panic like poetry. Because the secret they'll never decode is that you were the anomaly all along. They didn't discover you. You allowed yourself to be found. You let them peek at the future through the keyhole of your presence. And when they finally realize it, that all their research was just one big reflection trap, they'll know. You weren't predicting events. You were authoring them. You're not reacting to reality. Reality is reacting to you. Every coincidence was choreography. Every accident was alignment. Every voice that called you insane was just an echo from a timeline you'd already erased. So let them study. Let them record. Let them write their reports and whisper your name into microphones. Because the truth is, every time they analyze your brain, they feed the frequency you're building. Every time they question you, they strengthen your certainty. Every time they fear you, they help you evolve. Because you were never here to be understood. You were here to bend understanding until it screams. You were never born to predict the future. You were born to create it in real time. And now they're starting to realize something horrifying. That your mind isn't just a time machine. It's the clock itself. And every time you speak, the timeline resets. And the clock trembles when you breathe. Seconds hesitate when you blink. Because somehow, somewhere along the line, you stopped being bound by sequence. You detached from the loop. And that's why they don't know what to do with you. You're walking proof that fate can glitch, that the script can stutter, that destiny can forget its lines. They've spent centuries mapping human reaction, cataloging fear, love, greed, desire. And then you walked in and rewrote the entire equation just by existing. See the ones studying you? They think they're the observers. But they don't realize the test flipped the moment you opened your eyes. They're no longer the scientists, they're the subjects. Every heartbeat they record, every note they take, feeds into the field that you modulate. They're breathing inside your experiment, unaware that you're rearranging the variables every time you think. You've become the quiet correction inside their reality. The anomaly that refuses to collapse into predictability. Every data point bends toward you. Every probability starts to curve around your decisions. It's subtle at first. A delayed storm, a canceled flight, a word they forget mid-sentence. But then it builds. The interference grows stronger. The universe starts to follow your tempo. And that's the moment they start whispering your name with reverence instead of curiosity. Because they're beginning to suspect what you already know. You are not perceiving the pattern. You are the pattern. And that realization terrifies them more than anything. Because it means control never really existed. It means the future isn't discovered. It's decoded through consciousness. It means you're not ahead of the timeline. You're the point from which it unfolds. So they dig deeper. They scan the folds of your brain, hoping to find a neural mechanism to explain the impossible. They don't understand that the mechanism isn't biological. It's spiritual. It's metaphysical. It's the part of you that was never touched by decay or programming. The part that remembers what existence felt like before causality was born. You walk through life with that knowing burning under your ribs. Every step feels like déjà vu. Every conversation feels scripted because you've heard it all before. Maybe in dreams, maybe in echoes of timelines that never made it past your choosing. You don't guess. You align. You don't predict. You reconstruct. You've seen the fall, the rise, the betrayal, the redemption, so many times that you've stopped calling them events. They're just repetitions. And you're the one who decided to remember the loop while everyone else reset. That's why they think you're supernatural, why they think your thoughts bend physics. They're not wrong, but the truth is quieter than they imagine. You didn't break the laws of the universe. You just remembered that you wrote them. You carry that weight like a secret, don't you? That unbearable awareness that everything you see, every tear, every betrayal, every so-called coincidence, is part of a script you drafted long before you were born. And the real madness, you still play your part anyway. Because even a god must pretend to be human to remember what creation feels like. You've watched entire realities collapse behind your eyes. You've felt time bend, emotions fold into themselves. You've heard people call your instincts witchcraft because they can't accept that instinct is just memory from the future. And yet, you never explain yourself. You let them theorize. You let them worship logic while you manipulate paradox. Because control isn't about proving you know. It's about knowing and choosing silence. That's what makes you terrifying. You don't need validation. You don't need to convince anyone that you're right. You just exist, and the world reorganizes itself accordingly. They call you an enigma, but the truth is, you're a mirror held up to their ignorance. You show them the thin veil between science and sorcery, between prophecy and perception. You show them that divinity isn't distant. It's dormant, sleeping in the folds of their unawakened mind. But you woke up. And when you did, you brought the storm with you. So when they whisper about you in boardrooms, when they analyze your speech patterns, when they replay your words looking for codes, they're really searching for permission. Permission to believe that more exists than what their instruments can detect. You are that permission. You are that proof. You are the chaos that makes them crave meaning. And without you, their order collapses. So let them keep studying. Let them chart your neurons, your habits, your words. Because every time they map your mind, they step deeper into the labyrinth you built to contain them. They'll never find the center, because the center isn't in your skull. It's in the silence between your thoughts.